So the last thing I want to touch on here is super important that I promised you I would talk about inside of this video, and that is going to be the Agents MD hack. In this video, I am going to be breaking down how I manage and built the architecture to manage all 11 of my OpenClaw AI agents. Now, you're not going to want to miss this video, and you're going to want to stay until the end because I'm going to give you some very important sauce that you could copy and paste and put into your agents.md file in order for you to immensely improve the memory of the agent post context compaction. So you're not going to want to miss that, but we're going to go under the hood. We're going to break everything down. You're going to see exactly how I do this, and I have nothing to hide, and I'm going to be completely transparent. So let's go ahead and waste no time. Let's get right into this video. Okay, so diving into the back end. Now we are in the HQ command center. Okay, this is where everything happens for all the agents that are working for my clients. Now, I'm not going to disclose any of my clients' names. I'm not going to disclose any of their information. I'm not going to disclose what type of businesses they are, anything along those lines. All I'm going to show you is the main, most important stuff, okay? Because that is really what matters. So at the end of the day, we're gonna go from agents, EODs, all the way up. Because that's what really matters, and that's universally applicable to anybody and everybody who watches this video, okay? A lot of the other stuff that has to do with my clients is not applicable to anybody and everybody, and I want to keep this video relatively short, and I want to keep this video full of value that you could actually take and use yourself. So let's first talk command center. Now, Spark Advisory, we're going to talk about that in another video. That's something very important that I'm really excited to share with you guys, but that'll be for another video, okay? Command center, general channel, yeah, this is just general stuff here, nothing too crazy. Recursive learning, that's where all of my recursive learning goes, essentially all the patterns, everything that is going into making Machiavelli much better and continuing to improve upon himself on a very consistent level. That's where all that stuff happens in that channel. KPI reports, that's something I made that I'm working on, but it's not really too utilized at this current point in time. And before I move forward, I do also, before I get into system health, agent direct lines, and the agent's EOD, I do want to show you essentially and break down all of my agents, what they do, and what's their purpose, okay? And before I do that, I also want to state really quickly that if you aren't following me on Twitter, you should definitely follow me on Twitter. My @ and the link is down in the description below. Go ahead and follow me on there. People have been finding me on there, reaching out to me, asking for help in the DMs, or just tweeting at me. So if you're watching this video and you were one of those people, thank you. I appreciate you a lot. Also, on top of that, shout out to one of these guys who just, randomly out of nowhere, didn't know he was watching my channel, watching my videos, just randomly shouted out one of my Obsidian video. So just shout out to you. You know who you are if you're watching this. I appreciate you a lot, man. Thank you. Also, one other thing that I will say, and then after that we'll get right into this, down in the description below, we have the Telegram link, okay? I created the Telegram channel. I know I talked about it in last Wednesday's video, and that was something that I was thinking about doing. Essentially, you cannot post in there. It is something that I can just go ahead and post in and get a lot of feedback from you guys on maybe what next topics you guys want to see a video on, or things like that, things along that lines, or just be like, hey, this video is going to be releasing. You definitely should check it out, or hey, I'm thinking about doing a live stream. What would you want the first topic to be? So on and so forth. So anyways, if you guys are interested in seeing all those things and getting some early insight and some early access, or having a say of what type of videos I make, then go ahead and join. The link is down in the description below. Now, let's get into all of the agents, okay? Hawk is my output QA agent, okay? Hawk is essentially the guy who is going and looking at Jordan, Mercury, and Victor's work. He's going and looking at their work and making sure that the outputs and the results of what they've done is actually viable, and it actually is what we're wanting to get out of the process that they just did, okay? And if not, then he goes in and escalates that to my guy, Nikola, who is the chief tech officer. Nikola is the guy who fixes everything, okay? He fixes everything. He is the guy who's going in and every agent escalates their issues to him, and then he goes in, makes the fix, communicates back with them that it's fixed, and then they go off and do what they need to do. Now, that is what Hawk does, Nikola does. Now, Jordan is one of my clients' back-end ops agents. Machiavelli, we all know him, absolute G. Love Machiavelli. First ever agent I made, by the way, March 4th, 2026. Mercury, and Machiavelli is like my orchestrator, right? He's the guy who is just making sure all the strategy, and the guy who I talk to about strategy, et cetera, to implement things like, stuff I do in the infrastructure or whatever the case is. Next is Mercury. Mercury is one of my back-end ops agents for one of my clients. And Sonny is our system QA, which his whole area pretty much is the system health. So we'll get into all that stuff. And then Victor is the front-end ops person for a client as well, for the same client as Mercury. Okay, and then one of my other clients is not in here. Okay, he's not. I don't have anything in here for him. I'm doing everything with that agent through Telegram. So at the end of the day, that is essentially where my third client's agent lives. And then also I have an agent for X, an agent for YouTube, and then I've got Genghis Khan. Okay, Genghis Khan is like my executor. Like Machiavelli is like my orchestrator, and then Genghis Khan is like the executor. And I usually talk to Genghis Khan a lot now. He runs on Sonnet 4.6. If you guys are wanting to also know what agents, like what the brains are for all these agents besides Machiavelli are running on Sonnet 4.6. Okay, they're all running on Sonnet 4.6, and then Machiavelli's running on Opus 4.6. And yes, I am very aware that Opus 4.6, at the time of recording this video on April 15th, has been nerfed to all hell. I know that, and I'm not using Machiavelli as much to talk to him about a lot of things. I'm not really building out a ton of new stuff at this current point in time. I'm more of just optimizing the processes that I have with these clients and also adding more to the back end of what the agents are doing, rather than taking on new clients and building more orchestration around to the architecture and the infrastructure of the agents and how they work and the workflow of all that stuff. So anyways, nonetheless, those are all the agents. And Newton he's a local LLM agent. So if you guys are wondering what he really runs on, it's usually Qwen 2.5, and he just does some research. Obviously, I'm only working with a Mac Mini, 32 gigs of RAM right now, so with a regular M4 chip. So can't run any crazy local LLMs yet, but nonetheless, that's what he is there for. I don't even know why he's in this Discord, to be honest. Like, I could have easily just taken him out. He has no purpose and no use being in here. So anyways, those are all the agents. So you have these 7 agents here. Well, 8 agents here, and not, removing myself. 8 agents plus Sonny, I'm sorry. Sage is my X agent, and then you have Nova, she's my YouTube agent, and then you have Genghis Khan, who is my right-hand guy, so that's my 11 agents, okay? Now, I want to go ahead and walk you through the system health. This is super important. This is where I think you guys are going to get a lot of value, and I think that you guys are really going to like this, okay? So this is stuff that I think, again, it can be applicable to anybody who's running any OpenClaw or Hermes, for that matter, if you're a Hermes user. So nonetheless, first, agent escalation. Okay, so agent escalations is where literally all of the agents, anyone besides Nikola, can escalate any issues to Nikola, and Nikola will come in and fix this. Okay, so for instance, what we have here, so you could see like, this escalation here. I'm essentially not going to go through all of this stuff, but nonetheless, what happens here is Nikola is obviously like fixing an issue, and they go back and forth together, as you can see, between Sonny, Nikola, and sometimes Machiavelli will get involved here. And long story short, what happens is this is where agents just, again, escalate issues to Nikola, and Nikola goes in and fixes them and goes from there. So that's how this works. That's how I don't have to be the one who's seeing all the issues and making sure that they're on top of it. Do I still have to do that sometimes? Yes, this isn't perfect, but it's pretty ironed out to where I literally don't have to worry about anything happening. They could just come in here, escalate the issue, and then Nikola fixes it, okay? Now, the health pulse section here is really cool. This is where Sonny is really doing a lot of the work. So he's running health pulse checks through the entire backend system, like the entire config, etc. So you can see like system health, 86% cron health, 49 out of 57 crons, all agents are active, all integrations are green, memory, MD, success, all this stuff, right? Again, this is where we are running just a health pulse on everything, and you guys can see some of this stuff that we have going on here. Next is the system audit. So again, going through like a system audit here, daily logs, lesson logging, agent files, end of day logs, QMD health, anything like that. This is where he does that and then reports all this. Next is the passive scan. So as you can see here, You can run a passive scan. So execution details, job passive scan, the time frame it ran, status of it, results, assessment, actions completed, the whole 9 yards. All of that is done in here in a passive scan. And if you guys have like even more questions regarding this, please go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. I'd be more than willing to answer. But if I went through like all these little things, oh my gosh, we could be here for hours talking about this stuff. So I don't want to bog down the video with so much intricacy. I think that you guys could take a lot of what I'm showing you here and then implement this into your own like infrastructure for your OpenClaw or your Hermes agent, and then just take it and go. You know what I mean? Do your thing with it, and get creative with it. But I'm showing you a little bit so you could just kind of take a little bit of from what I'm doing and then kind of twist it to make it a little bit of your own, right? Next is weekly trends. So Sonny is scanning for, you know, weekly trends and self-reviews. So yeah, I mean, this is just great. Like, I mean, you're just going through here, you could see a bunch of stuff, and just see how like really detail oriented I get around this stuff to make sure that everything is running smooth. I think that a lot of people, once you start running a, you know, agency like myself, where I have multiple different clients and I have a lot more going on than the average person who may just be vibe coding or something along those lines, you know, or just using 1 to 2 to maybe 3 different agents, you could still do this. I still think that having somebody like Sonny, to be quite honest with you, is extremely valuable because it alleviates you from needing to even come remotely close to checking on all this stuff, right? You could just have an agent do this in the background, set a cron job and have it run. And if you don't know what cron jobs are, it's essentially scheduled tasks. Okay, so just have it cron jobs set up and scheduled for your agent to do something like this. I think that having a output quality assurance agent and having a system health quality assurance agent like I have goes a very, very, very long way. And I think that it's very underrated. And I think that you should do it because it will save you a lot of time. It will allow you to, again, find trends, etc., find things that are wrong during the day, have them get automatically fixed. I think that creating an agent like Nikola as well is extremely underrated, whether you're working with probably, if you're only having one agent, this doesn't make sense. But if you've got like 2, 3, 4, especially 4+ agents, you should definitely have something like this in place. You should have a quality assurance agent for output. You should have a quality assurance agent like Sonny for the system, for the config, for the infrastructure, for all the cron jobs, all that stuff, making sure stuff's getting updated. You should have that, right? And then you should have someone like Nikola who handles all the problems and escalations, whether it's from your output QA agent or your system QA agent or your agents that are actually on the ground doing the job. No matter what, you should have this in place. I just genuinely believe it's just extremely important, right? And then system health here for Hawk's reports. Again, just critical findings, healthy systems, like things like this, right? Like just coming in here, deep audit cycles. So for instance, just to give you a insight as to like why it says like a deep audit. So essentially, anytime that there is an issue or anytime that a cron job from one of the agents has an issue, Hawk does a massive deep audit on the entire thing. Otherwise, he's doing light audits, just, again, checking the work, verifying it, and then going from there. That's fine. But if an agent has an issue like this one, like Mercury Discord activity detected here, the PCN verification, excellent, you know, so on and so forth. Like he's going and doing a lot of digging, okay, on certain occasions. And I've trained him to do that on certain occasions, that it should call for a deep audit. But if you're not, you know, you don't want to run deep audits the entire time. If you do, you're just burning a shitload of tokens and you're just burning money at that point. There's really no need to do that. So anyways, that's what this channel is essentially for. So you can see that here. And then so that's system health before I move forward. And if you guys are enjoying this and you guys are gaining a lot of value from this, which I really hope you are, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell notification so that way you're notified whenever I go live. Join the Telegram so you'll also get insider scoop on what I'm going to be putting out next as far as content and topics, etc. And then I can also just brainstorm what stuff you guys actually want to see. And then lastly, on top of that, comment down below. Let me know if you're getting a lot of value out of this. And also let me know if you have any questions regarding any of this stuff in the comments below. I answer literally every comment. So anyways, let's go ahead and continue to move forward. Let's go to agents direct lines. So agents direct lines here, this is essentially just a a category for direct message for these agents. Now, I don't direct message Machiavelli here. This is essentially just for him to give me some reports on some certain cron jobs that I really have him oversee because they're extremely important. So I can come here and check those. But at the end of the day, I mainly talk to Machiavelli through Telegram, okay? And then Mercury as well. I fixed some things here in the back end, so that's why you could see like this message here should not be something that is done. It should not be something that's done here. So I've been fixing this to where it is, if I want to talk to if I want to talk to Mercury, I'm doing it literally in here because I don't want to have all my agents in Telegram, right? The only ones that I want to have in Telegram are like, let's say like some of my social media ones and or my like Genghis Khan and Machiavelli, who are like my right hand and left hand agents where I utilize them the most. Okay, so, and then we have Victor and Sonny. Again, I don't really talk to them too much. At the beginning, before I implemented something like Hawk and something like Sonny, I would talk to them here. But now any issues that come up, essentially we put them in here, right? So next is the agents EOD reports. And as you can see, like some of the agents are actually popping in their EODs now because it's 11 o'clock at night here. And I obviously have some end of day reports that come in. So anyways, this is just end of day reports, right? Now, based on what the agent's purpose is, you customize the end of the day report accordingly. And then you obviously run a cron job. So that way it populates every single day whenever you want it to. And so nonetheless, that is what this section is for. Now, let me go full screen here and we'll touch base on a couple other things. So the last thing I want to touch on here is super important that I promised you I would talk about inside of this video, and that is going to be the Agents MD hack. One thing that I want to show you inside of my agents.md folder that I think will just be game changer for you. So I'm going to go ahead, pull it up, share my screen, and show you exactly what it is. Alrighty, so I switched sides so you're actually able to see the screen here. I'm going to move this a little bit wider so you can actually see this. So anyways, this is an Agents MD for Genghis Khan. Now, I do this for every single agent, but I'm just going to give you the rundown here, okay? This is probably some of the most important stuff. And we're going to scroll down here to this section because this section here, is extremely and utterly important. It is the post-compaction reload protocol. This is hardwired, non-negotiable. Okay, this is very, 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 very important. Okay, so essentially when context compaction happens, for those who don't know, what it's doing is it is compacting all the context from whatever the context window's limit is for that specific model. Now, for something like Opus 4.6, it's about a 1 million token context window. I think for Sonnet 4.6, I think it's around 250-ish thousand tokens. So anyways, nonetheless, I have a whole video talking about that, and also I have a video talking about it on the full setup guide, okay? Now, when it comes down to this the post-compaction reload protocol, this is extremely important, okay? After every context compaction, you immediately reread all of these files inside it or in full to reload your complete operating system into active context. No skipping, no partial reads, every word. Now, before I move on, I want to tell you why this is important, and I want to tell you what happens on the post-compaction reload protocol. Okay, so out the box, OpenClaw, I don't know about Hermes, but OpenClaw has it to where when the context compaction happens, it has it read your agents.md file, but it doesn't have you read, the agents.md file, when it reads it, it doesn't read the entire thing. What it's reading is only the H2 and the H3 headers and anything below those inside of the agents.md file. So if I come here, this is like either an H2 or this is an H2. So it's two hashtags. So this is an H2, right? This is an H2, right? Over here, boom, this is an H2. So every session reads this, right? This here, H2. Now, coming down to something like this, if it's like, looks like this is not an H2. I don't know what this is, but it's not an H2, okay? So it's not gonna, overall, it wouldn't read it, okay? It wouldn't read it. So if this here, this title of this H2 looked like this, and it was in this style, like this is obviously regular text, I don't know what this is, but if it was in this, it would not read it, okay? And this is also inside, if you guys are wondering what app I'm in right now and how I'm reading my agents.md file, and I could see everything here, like if I come here, you can see everything, dashboard, businesses, agents, systems, decisions, lessons, wiki, daily, X content. If you're wondering where how I built all this out, that is in my Obsidian and OpenClaw merger video where I pretty much merge the two together and I create everything that's in the workspace inside of like the files and stuff. I put all that in Obsidian so that way I'm able to actually come in here and, you know, look at all of the MD files. Go ahead and check that video out. I literally walk you through step by step. It's a 50-minute video, but I walk you through exactly how to set this up because you watch me do it for the first time and overcome a little roadblocks and hurdles. So you follow along that video, you'll be able to set that up. Now, anyways, that's why this is important, okay? This is why this stuff is important because again, out the box, it doesn't read everything in the agents.md. It does say on post-compaction, the reload protocol, read the agents.md and a couple other files, but it only reads what's in H2 and in H3. And if you don't have this, and I'm gonna read the rest and explain this to you, but if you don't have this, then it's not going to read what's under this H2. And what's under this H2 is massively important, okay? So the 9-file reload list, read this in order. Soul.md, right? Who you are, how you operate, all directives and principles. Full. Lessons.md, every lesson's learned, every mistake to never repeat, in full, okay? Agents.md, workspace rules, red lines, protocols, and red lines are like, I'll talk about that in a second. Protocols, group chat rules, full. Yes, this file. So, like, yes, this exact file. Read this in full. Thinking.md, Andrew's 6 operating principles with exact reasoning and examples, full. Okay? Identity.md, and if you want to see that thinking.md, comment thinking in all caps down below because that one is banger. Identity.md, your identity, which is me, my mission, and full standards. Now, also, these ones are also extremely important. Memory/Andrew mindset MD. So Andrew's current headspace, priorities, and what he cares about in full. Read that in full. Memory / rejected ideas. Ideas we killed and why, so you don't resuggest them in full. Memory.decision context. Why we made decisions, not just what we decided. Full. And this one's important. The last 2 daily memory files, and for today, and yes, for today, the day that's happening, and yesterday. That way it has even more context. Okay, why 9 files? Because compaction reduces your operating capacity from 100% to about 60%, and that's being extremely giving. Like usually it's like 30 to 40% because there are some other key things that I'm going to make another video on when it comes to agents.md file and all these other files like the soul.md, agents.md, thinking.md, identity.md that you guys mostly don't know about that I think will be very important. So give it like 30%, okay? And then these files bring you back to 90% plus because if you read all of this every time compaction happens, you literally have all the context back again for the most part, okay? Now the rule, if you notice your context was compacted, your first action before doing anything else is to reread all 9 files, no exceptions. Okay, notify Andrew after reloading. Tell Andrew context reloaded, all 9 files, reread in full, operating at 90% plus. Okay, now the memory flush protocol, I can make another video for that. I don't want to go too long. So, you know, again, let me know in the comments if you want to see that as well. So I got a lot of sauce. I got a lot of sauce I can give and share. And I'm more than willing to do it. I just got to know you want to see it. So I think you should comment down below. Let me know. But with that being said, implement this into your agents.md file. This is absolutely killer. This is a killer game-changing play in your agents.md file that will allow you to absolutely maximize the context once context compaction happens, and you are going to be able to absolutely have your agent come back from context compaction with about 90% context to what was going on and happening, and it doesn't lose a boatload of nuance like it normally would. This is absolutely game changer. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. I really enjoy making this content, if you can't tell just by how passionate I am about speaking on it. So nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash the like button, comment down below, let me know what you guys want to see. If you want to see that thinking.md file, that one's actually saucy as all hell. If you want to know the memory flush protocol as well, let me know in the comments below. Comment below as well what you thought of the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell notification. We upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here, giving you nothing but 100% transparent, non-biased sauce on how you can improve your infrastructure with OpenClaw and your AI agents and just have them perform better and have just the most optimum, maximized version of your OpenClaw agents. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I really appreciate all the love and support from the bottom of my heart, and I'll see you guys in the next video.